Hey everybody, it's writer and director Len Kabasinski of Killer Wolf Films with a brand new Fist of the Filmmaker podcast here. It's been a little while as we've been doing some specials and stuff on Patreon. Hopefully you're watching this on Patreon, patreon.com/killerwolffilms. It is the best way to support my works. If you support them on Amazon, hey great. Tubi, thank you. I just want people to watch my stuff, but at the same time, the best way to really support me, that goes direct, although Patreon will take their pound of flesh as well. Patreon.com/killerwolffilms is the best way to support my works, past, present, and future, and we'll get into all that stuff in a minute. But to rewind, to recap, going back in June, I had went out to Las Vegas, Nevada there to do the Salty Nerd podcast and do some shows that they were doing. One of the first things I did out there at Salty Nerd Podcast was we cut a Pact of Vengeance audio commentary track. It was the first time I did it. It was hosted by Matt from the Salty Nerd Podcast, and I just go check it out. It's on Patreon. I think you'll have a good time with it. Pact of Vengeance audio commentary is up now. That being said, I put a lot of specials and stuff that I was doing for the Salty Nerd Podcast. We did, like I mentioned, the Pact of Vengeance audio commentary track. We did a Forgotten Movie Den kind of special where we did the 1996 werewolf picture Bad Moon. I think you'll have a blast with that. Go watch it. I think you'll have fun with it. So those kinds of things were up there. We had a special Demoniac, which my upcoming film Demoniac, which I'm co-writing with Eileen from California there. So that's probably right now, I would say well into the second act of writing. However, I've had some requests from a couple different scriptwriters now to take their shot at it. So, I thought, okay, I'm gonna let him do it. I'll let him write a version of Demoniac there and see what happens. But me and Eileen are co-writing it, and like I said, it's coming along. I'm pretty sure that'll be the next picture I do. It would flow the same way. Lots of my pictures have flowed the last 6 or 7 years, where we do an Indiegogo campaign for it, see what happens, and go from there kind of thing. So the last couple pictures, it's worked out well. I would say, Pact of Vengeance was my highest budget picture, but even that, tell me what you think the budget of Pact of Vengeance was if you have watched it, ladies and gentlemen. It is free on Tubi now. Of course, it's on my Patreon, so go check it out. It has been signed by Comcast. They do Zumo and things like that, so it should be coming there soon, so I'm told. But yeah, we've used Indiegogo for the last several of my pictures, I think, but the last couple, Pact of Vengeance, Challenge of 5 Gauntlets, those two, I think went especially, pretty decent. I mean, even besides Pact of Vengeance, the next biggest budgeted film I would have done, or highest budgeted picture I would have done, probably would have been, Challenge of 5 Gauntlets. Both films, that and Pact, have the late Leo Fong in them. So that probably had something to do with it, right? Who doesn't want to see Len and Leo together, right? And you've got a couple pictures of us, so I hope you go check them out. But we've used Indiegogo, and again, just like Patreon or any other service out there, they're going to take their cut of of your earnings, and sometimes it's better to stay with the devil you know. So I think we'll again use Indiegogo. I do have some people involved with Demoniac that want to do specific fundraising type things for it and help out on that front. I've never really had that before, so I'm interested, and we'll see what happens there. Time frame for shooting Demoniac, I really don't have a time frame for it yet, because again, we're still writing it, but the writing process, we're just kind of taking our time with things. Pact of Vengeance was a fairly exhausting process for me, mentally and physically, but physically because I was dealing with a pinched nerve and C6, C7 in my neck. So that's not fun, but that's where I would get numbness and tingling in my fingers, but also if I was to lay flat, I would have a lot of pain in my shoulder. And to the point where, you go, you got to go get an MRI or whatever. Well, I did, I tried, but I can't lay flat. I think I'm a fairly tough dude, but I can take some 10 out of 10 pain for, 10 minutes maybe or so. I can squirm out 10 minutes, but 30, 40 minutes laying in a tube was just not going to happen. But I did some moving cupping, good cervical pillow, that kind of thing, that kind of regimen for several weeks, and it worked. Pinched nerve's gone, so I'm back at it kind of thing. So that's all good on that front. Another thing that's kind of slowed some stuff down is me and my daughter have had the opportunity over the past competition season, which is July 1st to July 1st, for Professional Karate Commission. We've had an opportunity to go after a national title. It's kind of like points throughout the season. You know, if you go to a really big tournament, it might be rated triple points or something, or you know, you go to a smaller tournament and maybe it's just single points or whatever, and you compile points throughout the season, kind of almost like kind of NASCAR-ish for those that follow that. I'm not a big NASCAR fan, but I kind of know how the point system works. So you go to all these tournaments, and you know, once I would say February hit, and I saw the national standings and stuff, and I thought, whoa, you know, my daughter, Ariel, has a really good shot at the weapons title for novice 8-year-old girls, 7 and 8-year-old girls. And I thought, you know what, okay, you know, we talked and said, you know, if we're going to go for this national title, we're going to be on the road a lot. Meaning, on average, it was probably every 4 weeks, you know, you're at a tournament. But there were times where back-to-back weeks we're traveling somewhere, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, wherever. Professional karate commissions throughout the country divided in 8 regions. But luckily, near me, Region 3 is like Ohio, Kentucky, Illinois, so it's something like that. Or I don't know about Illinois, but definitely Ohio, Kentucky, those areas. Lucky for us, there's a lot of national events around those areas. Columbus, Youngstown, Cleveland, you know, those areas. So Pittsburgh, you know, is in the region, or you know, Region 4 is there. So, anyways, long story short, we saw the standings in February and thought, hey, we're near the top of the national standings. We could go for a national title. I've won tons of regional titles. I've been really fortunate. I'm in Region 4. I've won lots of regionals throughout my career. I think I have 9 or something like that, but I've never really been able to go after a national because I can't compete on that schedule. But we went for it. We won it. I am now a 3-time Professional Karate Commission national champion, as I won their Triple Crown, what they call it this year. That's when you win your divisions in fighting, weapons kata, and empty hand kata, and I was able to win all 3 this year. Hardest thing I've probably ever done in my life. And I've taken care of a sick mom, you know, I have an autistic child, that kind of thing. But the hardest thing I think I've ever done is win a national title in Pro Karate Commission. So, and my daughter Ariel did win as well. For weapons for 7 and 8-year-old novice girls. So, you know, that was, we've been busy with that a lot, winter, springtime. The season would have just ended June 3rd at a tournament there. When we got done with that, a week later, I'm on a plane to Las Vegas, and you know, the Salty Nerd podcast and stuff I had mentioned. So, but yeah, I don't really have a time frame for Demoniac, but you know, it's being written. I want to take my time with it, and it's going to be a step back in terms of scale, per se, if you would. That doesn't mean won't knock it out of the park with some cool lighting, better photography, all that kind of stuff we'll have. So the production value will still be there, kind of thing. It's set in the world of stage theater. I think it'll be interesting. It's a step back from the action genre, and it's going to go more into like atmospheric horror type things. So, you know, it's coming, and keep watching because I'll keep you guys updated on it. So, some other new happenings, though, that are coming sooner than later is now that we have all this technology, always seems that, you guys know this, I don't have to say this, technology always seems to advance. You're getting bigger and better cameras and lenses and all this editing, you know, programs, all these kinds of things. So, that being said, a lot of my older films are now being kind of upgraded, I guess, is the proper term, I guess, to 4K. To 4K Ultra HD. I know the first one I'm going to release is going to be my 2008 production, Apocalypse Female Warriors. Is going to be color corrected, some things done. It's going to be in 4K Ultra HD. I know Ninja Prophecy of Death has just been captured in HD, so you know, we're working on those. Yes, absolutely, we will get to Curse of the Wolf and Swamp Zombies and those films as well. You can see all these films already on my Patreon there, but they're coming back in 4K and HD versions there. So I think that's kind of exciting. I've kind of become a 4K Ultra HD snob with some of my films and stuff. So my jewel of my collection being Dead Heat, which everybody knows is one of my all-time favorite movies with Joe Piscopo, and now the late, you know, Treat Williams. So R.I.P. He did a lot of great stuff. So somebody on Twitter had mentioned, the Substitute and stuff I wasn't real crazy about, but I only saw the second one or whatever. No, see, four. Substitute 4, Failure is Not an Option, I think is the best Treat Williams sequel there for The Substitute. But Dead Heat from 1988 is that they must watch Treat William. And if you want to get serious, then backtrack to LeMay's Prince of the City or something like that he directed with Treat Williams back in the early 80s there. So, but 4K Ultra HD, my older pictures, slowly working on that kind of stuff, but I think Apocalypse Female Warriors is probably pretty close to being released in 4K on, and there'll be Patreon-only releases at this point. So that being said, down the road, physical media, possibly. I just signed with a new company for Pact of Vengeance. So far, so good. So I could see me wanting to re-up, or not re-up, but sign for the first time. I guess it's not even re-sign when it's somebody new, right? I could see me signing my older pictures with them. They seem to have some interest in that. I know my distributor of several of my films wasn't too interested on older catalog stuff that they didn't have previously. So hey, cool. But this Pact of Vengeance's company there are interested, and I think physical media possibly could go that way. Or much like I did, Swamp Zombies 2, I produced that Blu-ray. The Skull Forest Blu-ray, I produced that, and maybe I just produce them in 4K as well. We'll see what happens. But letting you know, that's kind of been in the works. So we haven't been staying stagnant here. We've been working on all kinds of stuff. So look for those 4K things coming out to Patreon. Also to Patreon, I'm going to continue with, I think it's kind of been fairly decently received, is I've been putting up several clips of like raw footage, and I probably have weeks and weeks and weeks and hours and days of like raw footage available. So I think I'm gonna keep doing that. That's something you'll see on Patreon. There is a Discord chat room there, which I'll repost the invite to that. I guess an invite expires or something. So I don't want that. So Discord chat room for the $5 Patreons. Check it out. It's pretty active, so go on and enjoy it. It's a grab bag of talking about anything from movies to art or you name it. It's a grab bag of stuff there on the Discord chat room. But all my films, there's several sub chats in there for all my movies and general. There's all kinds of stuff going on. So check out the Discord chat room there. But going forward, I'll stay with the raw footage updates. Usually I pick 3, 4 type things, and it's funny because, not funny, but it wasn't funny in the day. Some of them are from mini DV tapes, so that's 60 minutes, of raw footage that you have to upload, and it's not like zip on a card kind of thing. You're sitting there downloading 60 minutes. So, and I think the last film I shot that way was probably Blood Mercury, I guess. Which I could see that signing if we can get that tightened up into 4K, or I could see the distribution company maybe wanting that and putting that out kind of thing. They have a really good track record at getting on Tubi. Most things go to Tubi these days because Tubi will just let you sink or swim. If there's some promotion behind it or some steam behind it or something like that, hey, you'll do great on Tubi. If not, you're not going to do much. So, but Tubi's a good place to go. Several, I don't know, somebody will have to chime in. I got 8 or 9 movies on Tubi already. But, let's backtrack, 6 years maybe? Amazon Prime used to be Tubi, right? Amazon Prime is the shit. It's got all this stuff on it. They got a massive B-movie library, all this kind of stuff. Well, how's that working now? Because I barely watch. Does anybody watch Amazon Prime anymore? I know you'll watch it for the original programming or whatever that they're doing, which seems like that's the direction they're going to stay in, much like Netflix and things like that. Remember, my early films were on Netflix. You got the DVD in the mail, and Curse of the Wolf was, there, Swamp Zombies, all the early films, Fist of the Vampire, they were all available. That you got your disc in the mail, and there's Curse of the Wolf. It's all changing now, but it seems like the Zumos of the world, the Tubis of the world, that's where all of these, low-budget cinema things are going. They're very micro-budget, filmmaker-friendly. And that's both good and bad. I mean, of course, when you see, somebody suggested I make Amityville Ninja, well, don't hold your breath on that. But at the same time, somebody should write Amityville Ninja. I might be intrigued to shoot that. Dip my feet in intentional comedy stuff, right? I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I would be receptive. I don't know if I'd want to write it. I don't know if I'm that, I don't know if I'm a funny guy, really. But, Amityville Ninja, you guys chime in, whether you're commenting on my Patreon, if you're watching this there. If you're watching it on YouTube, great, chime in. Amityville Ninja people, what do you think? I'm not saying it won't happen. So somebody recently on Twitter had posted a campaign, that you go sign a petition to sign it, because I made a post saying, man, all these original Tubi works suck. All these movies that are labeled as Tubi originals. And I thought, these all suck. They're boring, they're unexciting, they're unsexy, all this kind of stuff. And somebody reposted, started a petition. I think it got like 500 signatures. Tubi doesn't care, but thank you 500 people for signing it. If I could move those 500 people over, hey, it's, I might not get the Tubi original, but I have a Patreon that, is cool to support. But I get it. Or there's the Buy Me a Coffee site. I'm still on that. I want to say it's buymeacoffee.com/callmelen. You can find me on there. I'm not real active on there, but if that ends up something that takes off, maybe I go back and be a little more active on that front. But right now I'm sticking with the Patreon, and I'm most active on there. People can obviously find me on Twitter, twitter.com/killerwolffilms. So you can find me there, and I'm as active as I can be normally on that kind of stuff. So, but I hope everybody's enjoying summer. That's kind of a quick update. I will continue to co-write Demoniac at this time. We'll still stay with, like I said, the raw footage and stuff I've been putting up. People seem to like that. We'll do that. The Forgotten Movie Den, of course, is not going anywhere. That's a long-time staple for my Patreon campaign. We've been doing that since the beginning, right? And then they canceled my YouTube channel. That's another special that if you're on Patreon, you can find that I did out in Las Vegas at the Salty Nerd Podcast. We talk about YouTube canceling me and stuff like that. It's worth your while, I think, to listen to that podcast. I think it's a pretty good one. So that concludes this kind of impromptu Fist of the Filmmaker. So please chime in with your comments on Patreon, on YouTube. Yes, my original Killer Wolf Films YouTube channel was canceled. It's back now. If you're watching it on there, just search Len Kabasinski and it's on there. So yes, it's a new channel. There's a few videos on it. Several videos are available on Vimeo and things like that. But have a good one, everybody. I look forward to talking to you soon.